Y'all won't believe who I got over here. And listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. This person is like a celebrity. So when I called her, first I had to call her assistant, right? And then her assistant was like, "Yeah, I think she got a upcoming appointment, probably in the next 6 months. So I'll put you on her calendar." I had to take a number, wait in line. I mean, listen, I got Mykeya on here. I'm not gonna say her last name because I don't want y'all knowing her government, right? The first time I've ever interviewed anybody who's more than 10 years younger than me. She looks like she's about 15 years younger than me, but I think she about only 10 or 11. But I got Mykeya on here. What's up, Mykeya?
Hey, that was an introduction, okay? I'm over here laughing in silence.
Hey, you know I'm right. Listen, man, you booked and busy, and I'm so inspired. I'll talk about why I'm inspired by people at the end, but I got to start out by saying, for you to be as young as you are, and the theme of your podcast, I looked at pretty much all of season 1, season 2. I know you're in the middle of season 3 now. Mm-hmm. But the things that you talk about that a lot of young people don't talk about, like not complaining, putting more of your energy into focusing on how you can make your life better. Making sure that what we desire for our lives aligns with what God wants for us. Right. I mean, just so many different things that you mention, that you talk about, so many growth inducing topics, accountability. Right. Being able to get past your generational trauma that you've experienced. Right. Because we're not necessarily responsible for what happens to us as kids, but we are responsible for how we move forward. So for somebody as young as you to be talking like that, it's refreshing to see. And I'm inspired. And your podcast, Unlocked with Keys. Right, because Mykeya, so Unlock with Keys.
Y'all get it?
It was one of the things that inspired me to do my own, because we kind of have a similar format in terms of what we talk about, helping people to unlock their stories, right? So what's going on? I mean, listen, I didn't know. I thought you just did this you actually do this for a living, right?
For the most part, I do a lot, but I do invest a lot of my time into the show for sure.
Okay, we're gonna take it all the way back. You grew up on the east side of Detroit.
East side.
Okay.
So I have a balance, I like to say. So I grew up on the east side, but when I was about in middle school, I moved to like the suburbs, like Sterling Heights.
Okay.
So I got like half and half, little hood, little professional.
Kind of like Fresh Prince, kind of. You know what I'm saying? I got you.
Right, exactly. So I got both of those. And then just growing up, I am really the baby in the family. I have a twin sister, but we're the youngest, and she's 6 minutes older than me. On a birth certificate. Not in real life.
Yeah, well, does that translate in real life? Like, I mean, because when you're my wife is a twin, right? So
that's so dope. Is it girl and boy or girl and girl?
It's 2 girls.
Wow.
But it's like neither one of them really have seniority over the other. It's not like one goes to the other. Like, if you like rock, paper, scissors is pretty much how they do it. It's not like, okay, well, you're the older one. You were born 10 minutes earlier, so that means that, I defer to you. Is it like that between you and your sister?
No. Okay, well, because if she sees, she gonna be like, you think you the oldest. So, in a sense, like there are some things like Mykeya is more wiser at, like her strengths. We have different strengths and different weaknesses. And I think it kind of helps because I can go to her like, Mykeya is more patient than me. And I talk about that. Like Mykeya is always like, just sit still. And I'm like, I can't sit still and do nothing.
Yeah.
And then like sometimes I may inspire her and, encourage her. And so we're able to lean on each other for different things. And that's like a good balance, I like to say. So as far as like seniority, she will say that I think I'm the oldest and I try to run things.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, sometimes I can get very impatient and I'm like, let's execute. What are we doing?
Yeah, I got you. So there's a mutual respect and love where it's like, hey, you're stronger in these areas, I'm stronger in these areas, and we lean on each other when we need to.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, I knew you was from the east side because when you walked in here and I was pouring you a drink from Trader Joe's, hey, y'all, she was like, I just found out Trader Joe's existed last week.
Like, I do need to go. I keep hearing about Trader Joe's. I'm like, I'm going to go check them out. I'm going to go see what they got going on.
Yeah, I used to feel a way about it. When my wife was coming home with Trader Joe's, I'm like, don't you be doing that. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to mess up my street cred. The little street cred I have. You trying to mess up my street cred? But then when she stopped going, I'm like, man, you got to go back because they got delicious treats there that you can't get from nowhere else.
See, I'm going to be hooked. That's what somebody just told me to have healthy snacks. I'm like, okay, I need to fill up my snack cabinet. So
yeah, and it's an experience when you go there too because they got like samples. of stuff.
I was like a Sam's Club.
I kind of, but
I'm
it's
in there.
a little more upscale though.
Okay.
Yeah, a little more intimate, right? Than Sam, because Sam's Club is huge, it's open to everyone. You need a membership, but Trader Joe's, they're not big stores like that, right?
Okay, right.
Because they just have a lot of specialty products. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's an experience when you go there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trader Joe's, come sponsor, because you're a big supporter right here.
Hey, y'all owe me.
And now I'm coming too.
Yeah.
I'll be there this weekend. Watch.
So how was it? Do you have any other siblings besides your twin sister?
Yeah, we're the youngest of technically 7 of us.
Wait, get the hell out. You said what?
Yeah.
7?
We're the youngest. Yep.
So how many of you guys were in the same household?
5 of us in the same household.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So I have 2 older sisters and 3 older brothers. But one of my brothers were in the household, so he was like the spoiled one. He was like the only boy with all these girls. So, but he let him tell it. No. But yeah, so it was 5 of us in the household, and what's so interesting about that is when I got older, I realized like, wow, I love a big family. Like I want to have a big family when I start to, start my family and stuff. Like I want it to be big. I never realized like the impact that have on you. But like our siblings, we're like, my oldest sister, I'm gonna put her age out there, she's gonna hurt me. But we're like almost 10 years apart.
Wow.
And it wasn't until we got older where we got really close. So that was like a thing, which was cool because now that I'm older, I'm okay, cool. Like even me and my cousin Keisha that you have, we got older we got closer when I got older.
Wow.
And so it was like that age, that gap of years, you know what I'm saying? Like we only got nothing in common right now. Yeah. But but if you catch me a few years later.
Yeah. And then we'll have more to talk about, right? So you grew up in a household, you're both your mom and your dad.
Yep.
Right. Are they still together?
No.
Oh, okay.
They cool. They good friends. So
good
you would
friends.
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was it growing up in a household where it was like 7 of y'all total, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was, I guess it was normal to me, you know? We had our times where, it was just a lot of us. I think we had 2 bathrooms, but really it was the one in the basement nobody wanted to go to. So it was really like one bathroom for all of us.
Nobody would, because it was like the boogeyman was down there or something. Okay, I got
at the basement bathroom. So I need you to hurry up. Unless I got somewhere to be. But it was cool. We grew up on the east side of Detroit, but my dad was so strict. Like I always say he was like drill sergeant strict. We were the youngest, the last babies in his eyes. And so we was the second house on the corner. Okay. And you not riding your bike past the front door of this house on the corner. Don't go to the corner. It's a tree. Yep, it was a tree. My neighbor's a neighbor in front of my neighbor's house. Go to that tree, come back around to the driveway. Wow. Back and forth. Like I don't even think that was like 300 feet. And that's what we did. And then we had our friends we can escape with. But like, now my dad was like super strict, and I appreciate him for that because it kind of helped us, molded us into the women that we are. If he wasn't so strict, we probably, we still wouldn't be crazy, but it's like, it really like speaks a lot to our upbringing. Yeah. So my mom, same way. And now I'm like, well, when I have kids, I'm going to see, because now I have nieces and nephews, and I'm like, what you doing? Where you at? Who was that? And I'm all in their face, and what's going on? And I'm like, well, I'm too overbearing. I ain't ready.
Wow. So your sister, your twin sister, you guys were obviously the closest out of the...
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Okay, got you. And still to this day, you probably talk to her more than everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so with your mom, right, what are some things growing up that you admired about her?
Oh, my mom is such a good woman. Oh my gosh, she's a great woman. Like, she has always taught me how to be a good woman, how to be nurturing, how to be loving. Like, she's a hopeless romantic. It is the cutest thing ever. And that's where I get it from. She's so like, she's very like hard on the outside, but she's very soft inside. Like, if you meet her, people who know my mom, like, oh, they be like, I say, Auntie Wanda don't play. But I know my mom, and she's really soft on the inside, and she just really teaches me, how to carry myself. You know what I'm saying? You put God first, pray about it. You don't have an answer, that's what you do, you pray. And I'd be like, okay, Mom, but like I called you because like I felt like, God,
like you was gonna give me an immediate answer. you know what I'm saying?
God be having me on, be on hold.
Right. Yeah. Or he might be working through you. You might be a vessel, Mom.
That's what I'm saying. She's my mama. So she's so big on that. Well, just pray about it. And I'm like, all right, you better eat that piece of gum, pray about it. I'm like, Mom.
Yeah, wow. You know what? That's actually very admirable because It's almost like she's teaching you how to fish for yourself. And I think it's important for parents to acknowledge that they don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Because they won't be around forever, unfortunately. And we need to be able to navigate those situations ourselves. So it's almost, it's this thing where you don't want to be too overprotective of your child to where you're giving them all the answers. You want to figure out how to make them stronger by allowing them to find their own answers, right? You can help guide them there, but that's huge that she did that.
Yeah, that's actually good you say that, because that was like a I wouldn't necessarily say a struggle that me and my parents had, but in a sense, because my parents always felt like, well, I've been here, I know. And I had to tell my dad, I said, yeah, I get it. Like, you have been here longer than me, but, you know, I'm experiencing a new world that you have never experienced before. So times are changing, things are changing. Yes, things are repeating itself. But there are differences. We have technology that y'all didn't have back then.
Yeah.
And my parents, now that I'm older, it's like they value, you know, more of my input. You know what I'm saying? They listen. And my mom even told me one day, like, she was like, girl, if I listen to everything my mom used to tell me, I'd be lost. I said, what? I said, say that again so I can record you. I said, because there is no way you would let that slide.
Yeah.
I said, because you know, our parents, they're parents. Yeah. I know best. I've been here.
Yeah.
But now they like my dad told me, like, you know, I learned from y'all.
Yeah.
And I have younger nieces and nephews that I'm able to learn from.
Absolutely.
I'm like, so what you do? How you do that? Okay. You know, because they think you ancient when you.
Yeah.
I'm like, baby, these are my prime years. This is not ancient history.
Oh, wow.
But they think that, and I'll be like, I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna learn.
Yeah, it's like we depend on them growing up, and then as we get older and they get older,
right,
you know, they start to lean on us a bit, right? Because the world becomes a bit more foreign to them as it evolves and changes and technology and all of that stuff. So what about your dad? What do you admire, or what did you admire about him growing up?
That's my dad. He's my dog. He is. Like, my parents are my best friends. Like, for real. They're so cool. The thing I admire about my dad, he's also very nurturing. He's very giving. He's so giving. I come over, he's cooking. Father's Day, he's cooking for me. I said, this is Father's Day. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's just that type of person.
Yeah.
But my dad is very real. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. He's going to give me the honest truth, even about myself. Like, I remember past relationship, the guy I was dating, he was wrong. And my dad was like, let me just tell you from a man's point of view. I'm going to just give you the real. And I was just like,
come through, Pops.
You know, but he really get it. Like, he's like, I'm a man. I was a young man before.
Yeah.
So he's very honest. I can tell him like anything. Like, I can tell my mom anything too. But my dad, actually, it's a balance between the both of them. I can tell my mom some of anything, and I can tell my dad some of anything.
Yeah.
It just depends, but they're judgment free. They listen, you know, they're understanding, and I think that's what my parents respect the most, is like me going to them and being like, let me talk to you about this. You know what I'm saying? Versus me like holding it to myself and not letting them into my life. Like, some people might think that my parents is just too much, but I'm gonna let you know, and I made it home. I know I'm grown,
Absolutely.
but I'm gonna still let you know. You know, I'm gonna give you that respect, because I'm gonna have kids one day, and I want that same respect.
Okay.
I want them to, you know, look at me like, oh, this is my best friend. That's my mom. Respect me, because I ain't want any little friends. But
yeah.
Come to me. You know, we can kick it, talk about anything.
Yeah, that balance is so important. I mean, me and my wife, I got a 4-year-old daughter, a 6-year-old boy. And, you know, they say that between the ages of, you know, 0 and 4, that those are the ages where you have to, you know, discipline them, you know, not like, you know, physically or anything, but you got to get a lot of help them to be able to manage their emotions, right?
Yeah, that foundation.
Don't be throwing fits and falling out on the floor and Target, this, that, and the third, right? So, and then by the time they get to kindergarten, they've become socialized enough to where they can sit in their seat and listen, right? A lot of times that doesn't happen because parents, unfortunately, don't prioritize that during those early years. And I told my wife, I'm okay with being the bad guy, right? Well, I don't like being the bad, especially with my daughter, but I understand how important it is, because I don't want you to grow up and not be disciplined, not have control over your emotions, because the world isn't going to love you unconditionally like me. They won't react the same. It might affect your ability to be able to find a partner, to be able to get a job, so on and so forth. But my wife, it's not natural for her to be disciplining them in that sort of way. She can do it, but they don't listen to her the same way as me, right? Because maybe my voice is a little deeper. You know, I have a more threatening presence, I guess. But she can just be a nurturer. Like, she can rely or lean in her divine femininity and not have to worry about assuming both positions like maybe a single parent would have to. right? But for me, I'm like, all right, I'll just play this, you know. But then there's interchangeability, so I can assume the more nurturing role when need be, and she can sometimes be the disciplinarian when need be. But that's really beautiful that you have that balance between both parents.
Yeah, they say you train up a child in the way you want them to go. That's what the words say, and they will go back to it. They will.
Absolutely, they'll remember that later. Like, man, damn, I can't. Let me call my mom and tell her she was right. You know how many times I've done that, like
That's
as an
why she
adult.
said that.
Yeah. And I hate it because my mom be on the other line, like, you know,
waiting on the call.
just waiting.
And the crazy thing, I haven't even had kids yet, so I already know I'm really gonna be blowing them up.
Man,
like,
for real.
Like I always tell people, I want a mini me. I can't wait. I can't wait. In no hurry now.
Yeah.
But when I have kids, I want a daughter. Like
Yeah.
I want a mini me. Then I was thinking like, oh, she gonna get my attitude. And I used to have bad attitudes.
Yeah.
I always think about the good things, and I forget about the other things that come with it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and when me and my wife, we got married when I was 27, so we had our first kid when I was about 32. So we had about 5 years to, you know, whatever. But man, we wasn't ready right away. You know, I was more ready. I'm like, man, let's just get this over with. I ain't trying to be no old dad out here. But the reason why we went ahead and decided to do it, because of course she's doing more of the work and, you know, making the baby and all that stuff, is because I just, you know, I started looking at myself as a community, right? Meaning that there's David now, there's David 5 years from now, there's David 20 years from now.
Wow.
So I thought about like, okay, what would David 20 years from now want from David today? Because we don't think like that. Sometimes we just live in a moment and we just want to live life and not have any responsibility. But now that I'm a dad, it gives me so much meaning and responsibility. And whatever I'm facing out in the world at work or whatever hardships happen, you come home and you have these little people that love you unconditionally, and it gives you a purpose and a reason to keep going, and it balances you, right?
Wow.
And then you got to think, well, what do I have in my 40s and 50s if I don't have the responsibility of raising kids? And then what do I have in my 60s and 70s if I don't have the responsibility of you know, having grandchildren to inspire or to, you know, help my kids raise in a way, you know what I'm saying? So when I started doing that, as opposed to saying, no, I'm just trying to do me, that's when it clicked for me. I was like, yeah, I got to go ahead and have some kids.
It's about that time.
It's about that time. What did you want to be growing up? What did you see yourself being as an adult as far as like, you know, your profession?
Interesting. So as a child, I always loved to read books, and I wrote my first book. I was in third grade.
Get the heck out of here.
Yeah, I love.
What's the name of the book?
Okay, so what was it? I forget the name. I remember the character. Her name was Nancy. She was it was like my life, really, but in a book. It was like a little kid's book. It was fun. I was so excited. I'm going around the house like, y'all, can I read y'all my story? Can I read y'all my book?
Yeah.
I made a whole booklet. I think I stapled it together.
And you read it to everybody in the house.
I was an author.
Wow.
Yeah, I always wanted to do that, and then I always wanted to get into fashion. My mom taught us how to sew by hand as kids. We were so young because they were so strict. Oh, y'all know how to sew.
Y'all hear this?
Listen.
Hey, fellas, I don't know what you're taking. They don't make them like this no more. Yeah.
Yeah, she taught me how to sew by hand. So we would make our dolls some clothes, or like my dad, he would give us his old blue jean pants. So my dad wears like those big old like barbecue man pants.
Oh.
Yeah, with a big pocket on the back. I mean, big pocket like that. What are you doing?
You talking about like the Michael Jordan jeans?
Yeah. Like who making this?
Yeah.
But it was so big, we would cut the back pocket and make a purse.
Wow.
That's how big it was.
Wow.
So we made blue jean purses as kids, sew them up, sell them. His coworkers bought them.
Yeah. Wow.
I would never forget. I think the lady's name was Miss Deborah, if I'm not mistaken. She bought the purses from us, our first customers.
How did that make you feel when you sold your first product to somebody?
Insane. We sold it for like $20. Now, granted, today that's not gonna be a $20 purse.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know, as a kid, oh my God, $20. What? We were young entrepreneurs for real, and didn't even know it. Wow. So we would sell like candies. My brother, he would sell bags of candies, and that like inspired us. So okay, cool, we're gonna start selling candy. But then we would start selling like water balloons, and like this guy, he kept buying them, but they kept breaking every time he would grab one. And we kids, and he just said, okay, I'll buy another one. I'll buy another one. We like, okay, you want another one? No, it's gonna break. And so we would just buy them, and we just had our hands in everything. We like to play school with our little fake dolls or whatever.
Yeah.
So growing up, I would say I wanted to be an author and a fashion designer, but I also had a passion for people, and I didn't know it because I would be a teacher, and we would talk to the teddy bears and stuff, and we would be teaching them.
Like they be the students, the teddy bears.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's so interesting because our parents were keeping us in the house and away from nonsense, but really it was developing us.
And this is you and your sister,
know.
right?
Yeah.
So you guys' purposes are sort of intertwined.
Yeah. Our resumes are like the same.
Wow.
It's so funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't. So that's what I wanted to do when I was younger, and I read the book. You know the book, The Alchemist.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the guy name is Paulo Coelho or something like that. Yes.
Great book. And it, talks about your personal legend. And I think this was like 2 years ago. I was reading it again. I'm like, because when I read it, I think I was 17. And I was like, I feel like it put me ahead of life like 5 years. Damn. Like I started paying attention more, you know? And so I read it again. I said, you need to read that again. You need to go 5 more years. And it was saying how, to discover your personal legend, think about the things that you did as a child. Those are, typically the things you grow into doing as an adult.
Yeah.
And I said, I wanted to be an author. I wanted to be a fashion designer. And when I was, I think I was like 19, maybe 18, God put it on my heart to write a book. And so write a book again, right?
Wait, at 19?
Yeah.
Golly.
But the interesting part about it was when he put it on my heart, I started writing. Okay, bet. All right, God, we got this. Let's do it. Let's do it. And I'm thinking I'm about to be like a New York best author, And it hit me like, girl, you need to experience life some more. Wow. So the seed is planted. I'm so big on like paying attention to the seeds that God plant in our lives. Yeah. He planted that seed, and now I'm 27. And he's still like, the seed is still there. It's just being nurtured now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you're going through more, right?
Yeah, and I can have more of an experience, more of a journey to share.
Wow.
So it's still there, and I'm excited for when, he's ready for me to really like release and launch that. Like, he just put a lot of stuff in my heart. So yeah, we gonna do a lot of things.
So you end up, and your resume, right? So you've worked for several different reputable banks, as a underwriter, right?
Yep, underwriting. I started at the bank being a teller.
A teller, okay. So you started from the bottom, and you worked your way up to becoming, wow, okay.
I didn't even know that was going to happen. When I was at the bank, our ATM guy came in, and he was like, you don't belong here. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, someone just told me to tell you that. And he's the one who told me to read The Alchemist. And that's when I was like,
I saw this on one of your episodes. Unlocked with keys.
Yes.
So go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so he the one who told me to read the book. And I was like, okay. I ended up finally reading it. And when I finished it, I put my 2 weeks in, because along that time frame of me reading the books, this is the thing about life. We have the answers in front of us, but it's all about where's our mindset. Like, are we really paying attention to what's in front of you? And the whole time, it was like I was going with the flow, like you said earlier. It's like I didn't have any I didn't have a grip on life. I didn't have that much care. So I'm fresh out of high school. I just had a school schedule. Now I have nothing. Like, it's up to me.
Wow. Nobody's
telling me go to math at 8:00 and do this at 10.
It's on you.
Yeah, and not having that guidance was like, I didn't realize, glory to God, because I don't know where I would be, you know what I'm saying? But God brings people in your life and puts you on, on the right path.
Wow.
So
yeah,
when he told me that, I read the book. And
they call them people like a ram in a bush or something like that.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
I think it's the Bible. I learned that from a young lady by the name of Patrice Johnson, because I'm not I don't know a lot about the Bible, but ram in a bush, that's the people that kind of come out of nowhere, and it's like, man, thank you for that, right? Yeah. They give you like an omen or a sign.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you work your way up in the banking industry. Now you at the point where you work with Next Door Lending. You don't mind me telling people that, right?
No, I don't mind.
But you started out doing bank stuff, like underwriting and stuff like that. Now you've transitioned to doing the thing that you love to do, which is marketing. And you're filming, and you're responsible for pushing their brand out there through, via, or digitally, I guess, right? Through media. Yeah. So how was that? First off, how did you get to the point to where you was able to finesse that deal and make your purpose be a part of, your profession, right? And then how has that transition been? How is it having a flexible schedule and doing what you love to do and getting paid to do it? How did you make that transition?
Okay, so if I could take it back. So first off, and I love where I work, Next Door Lending. I absolutely love it. Like, it's been a blessing. It really has. Yeah, and like, so interesting. during the pandemic, I was working. I was a youth program manager, and I was doing medical billing for a company.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I was going to school for psychology at this point before.
2 jobs, y'all. Fellas.
Well, I actually, so yeah, girl needs to sit down. But yes, I was doing that. The pandemic came, and then they, ended up laying us off. And then they said, okay, cool, we're just going to, terminate the role, permanently. I said, okay, cool, like, no problem.
And this is the medical billing role, right? I got you. Okay.
Because while I was there, I always told them, I was like, I'm not going to be here no longer than 3 years. And I was just speaking it because I knew I just wanted more for myself. Love the company, love the people, but I just wanted something different.
I think that's dope. You gave yourself a time frame and said, nope, I got to make something happen at the end of this.
And I was just speaking and not really knowing what that looked like. And so it would have been 3 years. Wow. This happened in March. It would have been 3 years, I believe, that November. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So I just already set my intentions, right? And so after that happened, cool, left. I was then my friend of mine at an if I can get it out, that'd be great. So I got a little tongue tied. You have to say no.
You crazy. That's funny, man.
So I actually started doing some work with Carew Entertainment. So, with one of the housing labels, like the Clark Sisters, Kara Sheard, was doing some work with them. And that kind of had me transition from, okay, cool. I was not working. Now I'm doing some work. So that was cool. And great. So honored to have even been a part and to still be working on major projects, super fun production, the whole nine, right? And so my friend at Next Door Linden was like, yeah, come to this company, we need the help processing. I was like, no, I'm cool. I'm gonna just stay over here. He's like, no, he literally, I think he mentioned it 3 or 4 times. And I was like, God, I just left mortgages. Yeah. I don't want to go back. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I wasn't moved. And God, he just wouldn't stop. I said, okay, I'm going to go on this interview. I said, I'm going to, say what it is that I want. And if it works, it works. And so I let them know. I said, I do have a podcast. I do have other things outside of that. If you guys can work on my schedule, if I can work from home too, then that'd be great.
Oh, wait. So this role that you have with the job now, you negotiated that from the jump.
At the interview.
Wow.
And that's why I love them so much because they're so understanding. They get it. You know what I'm saying? They started their own company. This is them starting their own company, leaving one company to start their own. Yeah. So they understand the grind. They understand, they respect people who have their own things going on. And so, I was like, at the end of the day, though, if it's meant for me to be here, I would be here. And they was like, I like her. And they hired me.
Wow. They didn't have to see none of your content or anything like that. They just...
No, and I'm sure they did their homework. Yeah, but they felt the energy. You feel energy, Yeah. And so I started processing. Then I started doing a dialing role. We tried different things. And it just... We was like, and we're all building. We're all trying to figure it out to see what makes sense. And then we started talking more about, they see I was doing my show. And shout out to them because they were one of my biggest supporters and sponsors for my next season that's coming out October. So
next season of Unlock with Keys?
Yes.
So this is going to be what season?
It'll be so technically it's season 3, like you said, but since I switched over from YouTube to podcasting, audio, I do this as season 2 because on Apple Music it's looked at as season 2.
Shit. Yeah, that's what's up. She over here stunting. You know what I'm saying? I only been doing this for a couple of weeks, so I'm actually learning while I'm having a conversation with this brilliant young lady. Okay, so Unlock with Keys, the first season I think premiered in probably 2018, right?
I believe so. No, actually 2019, but I've been doing the whole podcast, hosting things since 2017, which is so crazy.
You've been a journalist since 2017, right? So okay, it came out in 2019. What inspired the idea?
So a few friends, we started a show called The Spill.
The Spill.
The Spill
313.
Yeah, all right. Come on now. Work.
Well, shit, it ain't hard. I mean, it ain't hard to do it because everybody know Mykeya. So all you gotta do is, do a hashtag Mykeya on IG. Everything will pop up.
I don't know what he's talking about. You are so funny. Yes, so we started the show and we used so silly. We did it for fun. Let's just do something, YouTube, whatever. Didn't work out. But everybody had their own niche. And I was just there, oh, this just sounds like fun. Why not? And I ended up finding passion from it. They trying to sleep at 2 a.m. I'm like, we got a meeting. Like, we got the work to do. I was so driven. Like, the fire was crazy.
Yeah.
And I just knew that meant something. My mom and two of my friends was like, you should just do your own show. I'm like, nah, we a team. Like, we gonna, but I can't push you if you don't want to do it, then I can't. You know what I'm saying? Long story short, started my own show. And just started doing my own thing. I didn't know what to do. I'm over here buying cameras, didn't have no guests. I'm over here, didn't really even have the money. I still don't even know where that money came from because I don't think I was making that much money then. I swear, I think was I even working? I don't even know. But
how did you learn how to operate the equipment and
YouTube.
stuff? YouTube.
Oh, man, I was on
Ain't no
YouTube.
excuse, y'all. There's no excuse. Golly. Yeah.
That Adobe Premiere.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that was a beast.
Wow.
That took like almost 2 years for me to really grasp it. And I'm
feel
still
comfortable
learning.
with it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm a Final Cut person, but I hear Adobe is pretty. I don't know, man. We might be
Apple
beefing.
Android?
You got an Android?
I got an Apple.
Oh, you do got an Apple. Okay,
Right, you Final Cut. You got to be Apple.
I gotta be Apple. Yeah, absolutely. But
diversify.
I'm about to say, if I text you in the green, something green pop up, I'm blocking you.
I can't get him on the show. No. You know what? We got booked. It's okay.
So you had all of in the season 1, you had this guy, he's actually a pretty big rapper out here. Early. Yep. And that, man, I was so inspired by that conversation. Man. Also the lives that y'all did too. And I'm like, yo, this girl to be this, I mean, at that time, what you about 20, you about what, 16 at that time?
I think I was like 23 at least.
But the questions you ask,
wow.
like you definitely have a knack for it. So to be able to find your purpose that young is incredible.
Thank you.
Right? What moment so I'll say this. When did it occur to you that you were really good at this? Something had to happen where it just kind of confirmed it for you and you was like, yeah, I'm on the right path. What moment was that? That
is such a good question. When I just figured,
you probably knew it all along.
You know what? Since and this is like me being totally honest. Mm-hmm. The first day I did an interview, I interviewed this artist who his name is Rizzo from Detroit and the East Side. Mm-hmm. And so super dope person. I mean, like the best hospitality ever, right? Wow. My first ever interview. My friends at the Spill, hey, we got Rizzo, we need somebody to interview him. I said, okay, bet, like we need to do it today. Like, we need some questions. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, I've never done this before. Like, what do I do? Like, I didn't ask them. I'm thinking this in my head. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I'm just gonna pray about it. Like, God got me. I'm good. God did. No.
God did.
So I'm good. Mm-hmm. And so when I tell you, we wrote so many questions. I even had some people in my ear, like, if you can't do it, just don't do it. Like, you probably can't even do it. I was like, dang. Like, it was crazy. Like, all within like a few minutes of having to interview this guy. Wow. Wrote all these questions down, got in front of the camera to do the interview. None of the questions, just threw them, didn't even need them. Wow. Held a conversation. And I think in that moment is when I knew, like, wow, you did all this preparation, which you should have, but you didn't even need it. Like, that's how called I felt. Wow. To interview. I would say that was my very first ever interview. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, man. I mean, it takes a certain kind of person, because it's a gift and a curse, to be somebody who people trust with things that they haven't told anybody. Yeah. It can be a curse in a sense because it weighs on you, right? Because you care about these people. But the gift is that God instill certain things in you and people are drawn to you, and you can be of service and you can help people to find their own, like kind of how your dad did. You can guide people to find their own answers, right? Because you want to give people their own agency. You want to respect them as willing individuals, capable of saving themselves, right? So that's what I look at your show as. It's like a way to sort of guide people and to help them unlock things for themselves, right? One particular episode, right? This was season 2. Okay, and I'm not even gonna mention. You better. Get out of here. You think I'm gonna have the top journalist in Michigan?
Look, the premium gas is pumping, okay? Thank you so much.
I can't have the top journalist in Michigan over here and not do my research. But it was one episode, I'm damn near in tears. I'm like, yo, this person told you that had never shared this with anybody publicly. And I won't mention her name out of respect. But she experienced something where she saw one of her parents be murdered in front of her eyes. And she shared this with you, right? The fact that you were able to create the space for somebody to be that honest and transparent and that vulnerable, it just speaks to this innate thing that you have, something that nobody can take from you, right? Something that you probably didn't even necessarily have to work for. It's just something that you have, a gift. When obviously you do got to keep working to enhance that gift, but you get my point. It's in you. It's in you.
Thank
I mean,
you.
that's the thing that separates Mykeya from anybody, is that she's unique, and this is the unique gift that you have. So I saw that episode and I'm damn near in tears. Like, what were you thinking when did you know she was going to unlock that? And the way she unlocked it, were you prepared for those emotions during that episode?
The crazy part about that particular episode, I forgot what I released. I released something and she emailed me. Emailed me her story.
Whoa.
I couldn't even finish.
So you didn't know her
reading.
before that?
I had no idea. And I was like, okay, okay, God, like, what do I do? Like, I'm not Oprah. I love her. I'm inspired. Like, that's my girl.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I was like halfway in the middle of reading her story and just burst out into tears, like praying profusely, like, oh my God. Wow. Like, I was like, wow. Like, it was so many emotions. Like, you know, I'm such an empathetic person. So hearing somebody's story, that is like, oh my God, how could somebody have experienced that? And I mean, it was a lot that went through my mind. Like, God, me?
Yeah.
Is this a story you want me to cover?
Yeah.
Like,
that's a lot. That's heavy.
And it's so touchy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I prayed so much. I kept praying. I was so honored, though, that she even wanted to unlock her story. I was so honored. Like, you didn't have to. You did not. And the crazy, that's how you know God was in it, because she saw something I posted and she hadn't seen it again. And she kept looking and looking. She couldn't find me. And I randomly popped up again like weeks later.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, to me, it was just, and you know what it reminded me of, man? It was, and as a journalist, the thing that I think of journalists, because you have so many biased journalists out here, and there's always some type of agenda going on. But as a journalist, we're supposed to run towards the building that's on fire.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that scares us a bit, right? Because there's something there that maybe everybody else needs to hear for whatever reason. And her story reminded me of like the Passion of Christ, you know, because I was thinking about it. Like, Christ is an archetypal figure, meaning that, you know, he's the most innocent person you can ever think of. But the worst thing imaginable happened to him. Right. And, you know, for us, we don't understand that suffering is the price of existence. So if Jesus, the most innocent person you can think of, right, suffered the way he did, what makes us think that we're going to be immune to it?
Yeah.
So it kind of reminds us that we have to pick up our cross. We got to bear our own cross and we got to walk, you know, and well, how do you balance that suffering? Leaning into your purpose like Jesus did, because he leaned into his purpose of dying on that cross for everybody else to suffer less, right? And then when he came back, he didn't come back with a spirit of vengeance. He came back with a spirit of love. Yeah. And what that taught me is that love conquers all, and suffering is the price of existence. And since we're going to suffer inevitably, right? Because we get older, we're going to lose people, friends, family members, so on and so forth. It makes sense to create as much meaning around us as possible to help balance that, whether it's through having kids, whether it's through finding a partner, or whether it's through just being of service to people and operating through your purpose, right? Yeah. I remember it was this one video where you basically broke down, and that's the thing about it. It's not only your guests that are vulnerable, but you do it too. You got a lot of journalists who are like, all right, you know, give me the tea. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you don't know anything about them. You'll have moments where you like, hey man, I feel like I'm overextending myself, because you look like you have everything together, but it's not the case always, right? Yeah. So what have been some challenges of being a person who's been perceived as having everything together? And that means that people obviously are going to lean on you and ask you for things. How have you navigated that space and handled those challenges?
That's good. You know, I a lot of God would like tell me things like, you know, like I might get sick and he's like, you need to sit down. Like, you're doing way too much. Like, you're giving so much. But to answer that question, one thing I did specifically this year is I told myself I want to put the work into me. I want the necessary tools and resources to be better, and so that I can be giving to others and to myself. And so I signed up for therapy, and I was like, my therapist is my homegirl. She's so cool. And I was like, like, I hear so many like horror stories and like so many people, I done went through 5 therapists, and I'm like, and I'm like, I mean, God, you good. Like, me and you, we cool. That's all I need. You know what I'm saying? He like, I put these people on here for a reason. You know, yeah, there's so much that you know and so much that you're even going to, you know, receive from me. I mean, I receive everything from God, but, you know, sometimes he sends people in your life to give you that extra, you know, the extra push, that even that other perspective. Because sometimes it's like, well, this is what I know to be true, and God, I heard you say it this way. And he'd be like, nah, it's not what I said.
That's actually not what I said
like at all.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, right.
So I have a therapist, and she is incredible, right? And so when you ask me about how am I able to give to people, you know, she was actually helping me to understand the importance of overflow. You know, we say fill my cup up, fill my cup, but sometimes we can have our cup filled halfway and we think that's enough. So I can take a quarter of that and I can give somebody else that other quarter. No, you need to fill it up all the way, and what's overflowing is what you can give. What's not overflowing, I don't have to give.
I can't believe I'm learning from somebody
and I had,
who's
listen,
11 years younger than me.
I had to learn that. Like, I love my nieces and nephews, but I had to get to a place where I had to put time for myself, you know, and I still, like, I need to still make more time. But one day my nephew was like, can I come over? I said, you know, he's like, you're not about to do nothing. I said, you're right, I'm not. I said, but my spiritual cup is not full right now. It's a little empty, and I need to fill up. I don't really have the energy right now. I need to be alone. I need to be with myself to fill myself back up. And like, even like events, I can't go to everything. I only have so much left in me. And if I give that away, I'm going to come home burnt out.
Yeah. And not only that, you won't be good to those who do rely on you, right?
Yes.
I always think about it and I say, well, what would I rather be? Would I rather be somebody that nobody went to when they were in a bind, or a person who everybody went to? Well,
right.
I guess I'll choose the latter, right? And I got to accept what comes with that. But a part of accepting what comes with that is being able to establish those healthy boundaries and understanding that if I'm not full, then I won't be able to be of service to you.
Yeah.
It works that same way in a marriage. It's like, I'm not expected to fill my wife's cup up.
Right.
She's not expected to fill mine's up. We're responsible for filling our own up, because that's enough to bear.
Yeah.
That's already enough responsibility trying to keep your own cup full. And then, you know, whatever left over, we add to each other, right? Exactly. So I think that's dope, man. That's
it's
brilliant.
Necessary.
Yeah, like, that just unlocked me.
They go to keys.
Yeah, that's the key. So okay, how has this? Well, let me ask you this. Okay, fellas, here's the question that I know y'all all waiting.
What y'all want to know? No, that's the east side.
Is she single?
I am single. I am.
I need to understand, like, why. I know, I'm assuming this voluntarily. I'm assuming this by choice, right? Okay, so what has been your journey dating as an adult, I guess? You could summarize it. You ain't got to give me all the tea. You know what I'm saying?
The dating pool is dry. Not No, so dating was, I learned a lot. You know, I've been learning a lot while dating, a lot about myself, a lot about just how I choose to date. Like, I know people in this generation is like, oh, date multiple people and do this. I've never been that type of person. I just never have. And I'm still not. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing just yet. My therapist is telling me you need to keep your options open. I said, yeah, I feel you, girl. But I'm like, that don't work. Okay, cool, bye.
She really is like a homegirl. That's like, what's up. Yeah.
You know, but to answer your question, dating, it was, you know, you don't want to, you gotta be logical, not emotional, because then we be like, and he did this, and I can't believe. No, so I'm just holding myself accountable and say, I accepted some things that I knew I didn't deserve when dating, but I've learned a lot of good things. It's not always bad, but you know, I am dating, and
so you done got back up on a horse, you know, that's
I got back on a horse.
Yeah,
I got back. I don't be putting none of my business out. Now you're about to know my business.
Come on, y'all, come on, fellas.
Unlock it. Oh Lord. But I am, and it's been really great. It really has. It's showing me, oh goodness.
Don't you be trying to hide nothing. Don't you be trying to hide. Come on, you on the Conversations with TinBridge.
When it's coming out. No.
Shit, tomorrow. Depending on what she say next.
But no, as of recent, I have realized a lot. Like, you know, a lot of things that I wanted wasn't it wasn't a lot to ask. It was nothing. Like, and I knew it was nothing, but just learning more about just that balance about, you know, what I want in a partner, what I want in a husband rather, you know, learning more about that. And it's been really great. It really has. You know, people, especially social media, try to like tell us, oh, these men like this or these women are like that. And I will always be like, why do we keep putting these stories out? There are actually good people who exist.
This
like,
just kind of represents the few, like the anecdotal cases or whatever.
That 1%.
Yeah, right. It's like, not representative of the whole world or, you know, all men or all women or whatever. Yeah.
And I'm glad I never like led with that mindset. I was just like, and it's so funny because it's every time you're not looking, when you're like, I'm good, I don't want to date, I don't want to meet nobody, is when somebody just walk up in and you're like, the door was closed.
Tall, 6'4", dark skinned brother, chocolate, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out what her type is, you know what I'm saying? Just for y'all, just for the fellas out there.
But no, you so funny. You trying to play matchmaker over here. No, but because I'm already saying too much. Not playing.
No, this is good.
For me, not playing.
Yeah, that's true.
We're private, but no, it has shown me a lot. Like, you know, a lot of things, and you know, when intentions are set, you know what I'm saying, that's like the beauty in it. I feel like a lot of times people don't set their intentions. A lot of times people are going with the flow. They want to just date and have fun, but when you meet someone who has intentions, like, nah, this is what I'm looking for, and you know, y'all intentions match, that's like dope, you know what I'm saying? And then you can continue to build when you have the same mindset, the same understanding. But the biggest thing is things will just naturally flow. Like when things are natural, like you don't have to force anything, you don't have to second guess. Like you can have uncomfortable conversations. I can tell you.
So there's still gonna be challenges, but
but we know how to address them. It's not like I don't know, or even if it's like a moment of like, you know, I wanted to, but I didn't. We're gonna have that conversation, and it's gonna be okay. Like
it has a whole lot to do with the upbringing too, you know, because it's the things we instill in our kids, and either they grow up as adults who can manage their emotions, who can deal with conflict and work through conflict, or they avoid it. Or maybe they go too hard and don't let the other person get a word in. So with my wife, I remember it's funny because she comes from a great household, great family. Yes. And she was like, there was a, you know, when we started dating, and I told her that my dad wasn't in my life. You know, he was in prison from the time I was 2 to 25. She was like, okay, red flag. Right? And then I ended up taking her home. Because I went to school in Ann Arbor, Michigan, but my house was in Detroit. Okay. So it's a 50-minute drive, and I had to go back home for something real quick. And I was like, hey, why don't you come with me? We wasn't even really dating, but I was trying to impress her a little bit, right? We get home, and she saw how my relationship was with my mom. She said, okay. But anyway, the upbringing definitely makes a difference, and that's why it's good to ask questions when you're dating somebody and say, hey, how was your upbringing? Was your dad and mom there? Okay, if one of them wasn't there, you know, let me try to figure out let me try to figure out what impact that had on you. Because who knows, maybe you had other father figures who kind of taught you certain things you needed to know as an adult, and this, that, and the third. But it's good to ask good questions when you're dating.
It is. And, you know, that how's your relationship with your mom? Like seeing that dynamic. But also, too, like one of my things for my husband, I asked God for a man who knows himself. Like that is so important to me, and this is the thing. So I give God my list, but then I say, okay, now the same for me too. Is I got to be that woman. I still got to be that wife. I can't say I want a man who know himself and I don't know myself. You know what I'm saying? I got to hold myself to the same standard. Yeah, you know. And I say I want that. And like knowing, you know, what the company he keeps, his friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, do he have a mentor? Do he have someone like who's his role model? You know what I'm saying? What are some things that he's inspired by? What are you into? You know what I'm saying? What do you like to do for fun? You know, like just learning different things about a person is just so important, because then you got to think about, this isn't just going to be your husband, it's going to be the father of your children. Yeah. Like, are you okay with that? Like, does this man is this somebody you want to have, you know, children with? You know what I'm saying? And those are just things that are so important. Like I tell my homegirls, you know, we all, for the most part, are single. I said, you know, is this somebody you can spend the rest of your life with? Ask yourself that. Is this someone who you want to have children with?
That's extremely important. This guy by the name of Patrick Bet-David. He was on a podcast called The Roommates. And they pretty much asked him a question of what would he do if he were to become president, right? What's the first thing you're going to do when you get in that office? And he was like, well, you would have to ask me what I was doing 20 years prior. And what he said is that that pretty much determines the type of man that he'll be once he assumes that position.
Wow.
And that's important. It's a lot of guys nowadays that I talk to who think that they can just pursue their cardinal pleasures and, do them, quote unquote.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they just get married and the switch cuts off. But it doesn't happen like that because you spent so much time creating bad habits, right, that are going to cause great detriment to your relationship, later down the line, because you think you got a hold of this stuff. You think that all of a sudden I'm married and, okay, I'm going to be faithful now. I'm going to be committed. I'm going to be a great communicator, so on and so forth. So you want to be working on that stuff prior, right? Because that defines the type of husband that you'll be once you assume that position. And I think it's the same thing for women. So I love what you said right there.
Thank you. That's good. That's so good. I like what you said too. That was really good.
You know what I'm saying? We just a couple journalists here. You got Unlock with Keys. Y'all can catch it on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And also she got this other project she doing with her twin sister called Unlock the Neighborhood.
Yes.
Is it Unlocking the Neighborhood?
Unlock the Neighborhood.
Unlock the Neighborhood.
And that's with Next Door Lending.
In conjunction with Next Door Lending.
Yes.
And I'm jealous because they be going around eating delicious corned beef sandwiches.
I love to eat. Now that's one thing y'all can know. I want to make me happy. Feed me. No.
Wow. How did you and your sister, how did that even come to fruition?
So when after I started working at Next Door Lending, she loved what I was doing, and she was okay, cool. I want to go too, and she interviewed, and they loved her too. So yeah, we literally have like the same resume.
Look at you putting people on, okay?
Oh, for real. Listen, for real. Anything I can do in my power, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. For real. And so we did the marketing, and we're like, oh, it makes sense. Like, why not? Because I'll tell you this. Go
ahead, come on. We need to hear this.
Like to show things first before I be telling. But I am studying to get my realtor's license, and so we want to do like a twin thing. You know what I'm saying? So that was really where the idea came from.
So the next house I buy, you gonna be my realtor.
Period.
Okay. All right.
Like the resume just gonna keep getting longer.
Right.
So we were like, okay, let's do something like that. But then it ended up turning into the podcast for the time being. And they loved it. Like, that's what I love about them. They're so open to creating. Our team lead, Rami, is like absolutely like the best. Like, I call him a unicorn. Like, he's just non-existent. Like, nobody exists like this. He's so understanding. He's so empathetic. He gets the grind. Like, he sees the vision, and he's all about the story. Yeah. And so that's something that I really admire about him. And he sees it. Okay, you got this. You got to do a podcast. Okay, cool. That's cool. What time you gonna be back? Okay, babe. Would you come? You gonna work from home? What you gonna do? Like, you cool? Yeah. And like, as long as you do what you're supposed to do.
They ain't trying to micromanage you or right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you put your work in, put your hours in, do your thing. You know what I'm saying?
You got to be a person with integrity, though, because it's a lot of people who would abuse that type of freedom.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, they understand. So, and there is so much freedom to create. Mm-hmm. It's just a space. Go ahead and create. That's what you want to do. Okay, bet. Let's see. If it worked, it worked. If it don't, we got to go back to the drawing board. And that's fine. And that's something that we're learning. You know what I'm saying? That we're doing a trial and error. We're seeing, okay, how does Unlock the Neighborhood work? We know it's going to work, but like, how is it going to be in a good benefit for the company? And even other companies who be like, oh, I like what y'all doing. I love the marketing. Come do our marketing. You know what I'm saying? So we got to make sure we are putting ourselves in the shoes of the audience of that business. And that's
serving the audience.
Learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even though I'm, conjunction or, combining it with my podcast, I still have to see, well, what does Next Door Lending audience want to see? They love us in the office. They love to see us in the office. So,
y'all had a real cool skit that I saw. It was kind of similar to The Office, right?
Because that's what we like to do. Yeah, That's one of our campaigns is the Office series.
Wow.
And that's check it out on Next Door Lending.
Next Door Lending.
The Office series are fun. We got way more to come. Like, it's gonna be so much fun. So we building. We trying to see what works. Building the brand awareness for Next Door Lending, and because that's a brokerage company. So people come get your mortgages, but we like to humanize our loan officers and just our workers in general. Like, we're humans. Like, we're not robots behind the screen. We're not just, it's the technology world, but we gonna interact with you. We're gonna talk to you. We're real people. And I feel like we're in this phase of just technology behind the screen. Nah, we real.
Y'all
we
real.
want to show you that we're real.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Damn. So Unlock the Neighborhood, because y'all get to go up in the neighborhoods and actually touch the community.
Yeah.
I love that. So okay. So that's the biggest difference between Unlock the Neighborhood and Unlock with Keys, because with Unlock with Keys, it's you doing your own thing.
Right.
You're not necessarily as concerned with what the audience wants to see. It's like, no, I'm gonna do what I feel aligns with my purpose. I'm doing me. I'm not necessarily trying to be like, because here's the thing, and I'm about to go off here. See, it's a lot of people who do things because the topic is salacious or because they have like clickbait titles and, you know, just stuff like that. And with you, there's no gimmicks. It comes straight from your heart. It comes straight from your soul. And I could tell you're being led by a higher power. So that's the thing with Keys, is that you have that autonomy to just kind of listen to God and do you. And yeah, you're still listening to God with Unlock the Neighborhood, but it also teaches you to understand what the consumer needs. So you're understanding the business side of things as well. So it's good that you get to sort of do both. And like, you know, I guess, you know, when you're doing Unlock with Keys, it's therapeutic because you get to do what you want to do. And then you come over here and you still love doing this, but you got a boss and you got parameters and this, that, and the third. So one kind of feeds into the other, right? And you learn something different from both, right?
Yeah.
But it's still the same sort of thing that you're doing, same role. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, first I want to say I'm like the J. Cole in the game.
Yeah.
Because J. Cole, he has his people who rock with him for who he is. He just put out, this is who I am, this is my creativity. Yeah. Whoever like it gonna like it, and that's just that, and that's what I respect about him. He's who he is.
Yeah.
And like when you say whatever I release, I'm putting out because God told me to do it.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to this Mike Todd podcast, and he was saying there is success and obedience. So I'm just gonna obey, and the success will come with that. And success isn't 100,000 likes, views, whatever. It's that one person got the message and changed your life. Bet.
Absolutely.
Doing too much.
Absolutely.
But the interesting part about what you just said, though, I had to find the balance.
Yeah.
Between the Unlock the Neighborhood and Unlock with Keys, because I'ma always be me, no matter what. But I found myself wanting to be more appealing to a specific audience. And not that I wasn't myself, but I didn't feel like I was, just me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was, but it was something that I recognized. And my leader, he was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, I want you to, be you. You know what I'm saying? Go to the Pistons Performance Center, dunk on them real quick. Nothing, like, be you. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to be trying to sell mortgages all day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But, like, he gets it. So, and it's a balance because he doesn't make me feel like I'm reporting to somebody, because this is still like my vision.
Yeah.
So, hey, I want to do this. Let's put it on the books. You know what I'm saying? And they understand it. And I respect his opinion. So he might be like, okay, cool. Like, we'll have a whole run sheet. We'll get to shooting. All right, let's do this instead. Okay, bet. Because I know I'm going to come with the seed. He going to water it. And it's going to be something way better than what I even thought. You know what I'm saying? And that's the importance of a team.
Yeah.
Somebody who sees your vision, who believes in it, but adds to it.
Wow.
Like, adds to it.
So this is, and I want to go even deeper, right? Because a lot of times we assess our value, right, solely based on other people's opinion of us.
Yeah.
Like, we need other people to validate us. And part of that is true, right? Because if you don't care about what nobody thinks, if you don't care about what anybody thinks, then you're basically going to run the risk of becoming just a narcissistic person who doesn't know how to play fair with people, don't know how to coexist with other people. So that part is important. And I kind of liken that to Unlock with Neighborhood, right? Because Unlock the Neighborhood. I liken it to that because you still have to care about the consumer. You have to care about what they think. And then there's part of us that have to find our value within, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that nobody can take from us. It's a part of our purpose in being able to serve others. And that's unlocked with Keys. So you need that balance. And if you don't have that, the thing that's internal, then you end up becoming a people pleaser, and right? You become a people pleaser because now you're only worried about satisfying these people out here, and then your message that comes from God gets a bit diluted. So you need the balance of both so that you don't become a narcissist on this end, and then so that you don't become a people pleaser on this end. So that's really important.
And people will define you. They will tell you who you are because you don't know who you are.
Absolutely.
But as long as I know me, can't nobody tell me about me.
Can't nobody tell you.
You can't. That was something that we talked about in therapy. We just did.
Last Tuesday. You know
like, she just be coming with it. I feel like, girl. But, like, for real, you will subject yourself to anything. If I'm coming into this space, oh, this is what you want me to do? Okay, bet, I'm going to do it. Or this is who you telling me I am. This is the look you want me to do. Okay, yeah, sure. No, this is who I am. This is the look and the image that I have. Like, growing up, my older sister wanted us to go into modeling. Our parents were like, no, absolutely not. There's too much going on in that industry. Now that I'm older, as an adult, it's different. I have more control over who I am. If you a kid doing modeling, I need to be with you 24/7. So it's a lot. People will try and portray an image, say, this is who I need you to be. I need you to be half naked. I'm not, no, that's not how I present myself. And so that balance, but still knowing the consumer.
Yeah.
For this particular Unlock the Neighborhood, you know, I know that the consumer like to see us in the office. So, okay, bet. We're going to go patronize somebody's business, bring lunch into the office, and we're going to get everybody else's, you know, feedback on it. Or we're going to do something that kind of ties into what the next door lending audience will want to see and what that other business or brand also has to offer and make it make sense. And as being Unlocked with Keys, I can, you know, I can be that middle, that merger between the two. Because I'm going to always be me. You my homegirl. Like, I'm going to be me. I know how to be, you know, professional. You know what I'm saying? You have to know how to, you know, present yourself, but don't lose yourself trying to present something. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Always be you.
It's a balance. Wow. And so, again, I'm just being honest with you. When I saw your videos, I'm like, yo, this person is special. Some people just got it. Like they're anointed or they're, you know, they have a special
favor.
They got a special calling. And I feel that, right? And you know it too, because you know you were born with a hole in your heart.
Yeah.
Right? What age did your parents tell you that, right? Number one. And then number two, what did that tell you about yourself?
How old was I? I think I was like, maybe I was like 7, 8, because I have this scar on my chest, and I think I was looking at my sister's chest, and we was like, we had nothing at this time. We got no doorknobs, no nothing.
You crazy.
That's what my dad like, the doorknobs. He was so mad. Oh, he was so mad. But I would look, and I was like, well, why I got this scar? But I was never like insecure about it. I just wondered like, why y'all ain't got no scars? Like, why? I feel special. Like, where your scar at? You know?
Yeah.
And so my mom, they just kind of told me, but they never like went into depth. I think because I was so young, I can't really like understand.
Comprehend it, yeah.
But they would show me pictures. Oh man, that was so many tubes and like wires in me. Like it was just so many. Like, oh my God, I would be like.
And if they didn't get this surgery, then there could have been a possibility that you wouldn't have lived past 14.
Yep. And so
wow.
It was crazy. But you know the crazy part, it didn't hit me until I was 25.
Yeah.
And that's when I, like, the older you get, the more you start to really understand your parents, like we was saying earlier. Like, when I was 25, I did a mentorship program, I told you, with Kiera shared the sister.
That's when you was working as the billing writer or something like that? Medical.
Actually, I think I had just gotten laid off. So, yeah, around the time I had just left. Maybe I was still there. I can't remember. But she was saying how you were chosen. Like, this girl's like, if I walk into a room, I don't feel qualified. People higher credentials than me. Like, how am I here? She was like, well, if God put you there, you were chosen. You were deemed qualified.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. So that made me think about, he put me in this lifetime. Like, I'm really qualified. Like, he really was like, I need the best doctors, nurses, because the young baby who was also sharing a room with me, she went through like hundreds of surgeries. Well, maybe like almost 100 surgeries. And she didn't make it the day I was going into surgery. And my dad went into the hospital room with us balloons and teddy bears to me and the baby. And it was like, the bed was made. Like, why the bed made? The baby didn't make it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the older I got, the more I put myself in my parents' shoes. Like, you had a baby, you had 2 twins, and one had a hole in their heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad, he always prayed to God for a daughter. That's all he wanted was a daughter. And he got 2 daughters. And now this is happening. Like, I can only imagine what they was going through. And
that's the first thing you said on your podcast. You was like, it was like, I can't even imagine how my parents were feeling at the time, having to make that decision, and they were strong enough to go through with the decision that ultimately ended up being the right decision, but just for you to put yourself in their shoes and, it just speaks to your level of awareness, a level of humility, because most people would just be like, damn, that happened to me, man. I'm pretty special.
Really
you know what I'm saying? But you thinking about what everybody around you went through during that time.
Because I see pictures, you know what I'm saying? And I see the scar, but I wasn't really there. My mind wasn't developed to understand, and comprehend what they're dealing with. But now that I'm older, it was like, dang, God, you chose me. Like, you did. Like, he chose all of us. Like, we're all here. Like, everybody didn't have to go through open heart surgery, but we were all chosen in some form. But to have gone through something as detrimental in a sense as that, it made me feel like you did not have to choose me. I could have been like the other little girl in the room with me. I could have been like anybody else.
Damn. Yeah.
But you said, I need her. And that opened my eyes. And sometimes, like they say, if your dream isn't big enough, if it don't scare you, it ain't big enough. And sometimes I do get like, whew, God, what you about to do? Where we going? Because you won't have me here just to be mediocre. You need me to like go do some things.
Yeah, not after that. Not after you fought through that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I be like, so he be putting stuff in my heart, and I be like that. He be like, yep. I be like that too. Yep. I be like, okay, like,
dang, God, okay.
Let me find out. Like, and so that's just like y'all just wait and see. I don't even know. You know, he just be doing this thing.
That's the next question I got
up.
for you. What's in store for you? Where do you envision yourself being 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I see myself.
When you turn 10 years from now, I'll be 30. She'll be 30.
I'll be 37. Knocking 40. About to retire and sit down. Yeah, that's what I see.
That's what you, for real?
I mean, wow, though. You always working.
A couple kids, probably.
Oh, for sure. Married listen, the time is ticking. Oh my God. I mean, I'm not in no hurry. The kid clock can wait.
Yeah. But you still know that clock is there. So
the clock is still looking. Because I used to tell people, I got 5 years. And then the next year, I got 5 years. I said, wait, Mykeya, you said that 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think you got about 2.
Yeah, because time fly. Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, yes, definitely married with kids in 10 years. For sure. Like, for sure. Cute little mini me's. Can't wait for them. But we'll worry about y'all get here. But
maybe like a host of your own show, you know, like Oprah or something.
Investing in them. What they want, what you want to do? Let's do it. Are you like that? Let's try this again. Let's do something else. Like, for sure, whatever they want to do, let's do it. Because they got to figure it out. We got to figure it out. And that's the thing. So when you ask me that question, it's so broad. I feel like there's so many things, like, you know, getting into acting, wanting to do more of that, you know what I'm saying, real estate, my own like housing network for, you know, the people's with their shows, you know what I'm saying, doing things as far as like ministry. Like, there are so many different things, like business ventures that I want to try out, youth programs to develop other young adults. Like, there's so many things I want to do, and so my hands, I'm about to run out of fingers.
No, I mean, wow, that's beautiful. And then everything you just named, I mean, it's almost like you're doing it to serve others.
Yeah, we all are.
Nothing egotistical about it at all. You're doing it to serve other people, so it's just beautiful that you're going to continue down that path, and you understand that that's a part of your purpose, and you accept that. And then you accept that there's going to be some hardships and suffering that comes with that, and you kind of have to learn how to balance it. You're in therapy now, so you figured that out early. Yeah.
And it's going to, like you say, yes, those hardships are going to come, but like, how are we going to respond to it?
How are we going to respond? That's what defines us, right? That's the other thing too about, like, that's why I said the passion of Christ, right? Passion of Jesus Christ is that he suffered, but not only did he suffer, but he suffered nobly, in the most noble way possible. There's a lot of people out there who suffer, who go through something, and they end up drinking, you know, themselves to an oblivion. They end up smoking. They end up hurting a kid or hurting somebody else, whatever the case may be. But when you can suffer and do it nobly, that says a lot about a person.
Yeah, because we all have choices. Yeah, you can decide, how am I going to respond? Yeah. Now, not to say that every choice or decision is going to be the best one, or, you know, but you still have that opportunity to ask yourself, am I going to drink this away? Am I going to go smoke this away? Because when I was younger, I used to smoke. Smoke my weed. Why did I just say that? But I did. Yeah. I did. And
that's the first time she ever said that to anybody, y'all.
Well, none of y'all business. But if you know, you know. I wasn't like Dada and Craig, but no.
Just, you know, a little bit.
But
here
when
and
I
there.
was younger, when I was like years ago younger, and because it was an escape. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I don't want to deal with this. This is fun. But then I realized, like, okay, like, you know, people will say, oh, I got the best ideas and I'm high and da-da-da-da. And I feel like some good things was coming, but I said, but I want to have this power sober. I want to be able to say, I want to be able to, like, really connect with God. Like, I was never trying to connect. I would be like, ooh, I know you're looking down on me. But I was never, like, I want to connect with God, like, with a sober mind and really hear him, like, be like, okay, I feel that power. I can recognize the power that you've given me. You know what I'm saying? Not going to a substance to get that power, because for one, it was the price was going up. Like, it was just, it's a lot too. Like, this isn't here. You know what I'm saying? This is something I can rely on, rather. Yeah. And so I yeah, I'm like, I want to, I want to, like, I was telling my mom, this is like how I'm like so open with my parents. I'm like, Mom, sit over there. I'm gonna sit over here. I gotta ask you something, but don't hit me. Don't be mad. Like, show me hit me. But you just never know. And so I was like, Ma, like I was younger, and I was like, Ma, I don't know. Like, I smoked sometime. I said, and mind you, I was like grown, like I was living, like
but
I was.
Still feel like you a child.
Because I
when
respect
you her
my
that,
parents, and my parents don't look at me like, you, what you told you?
Yeah.
And so I was like, but I don't know, like why, like the purpose of it being here. And there's nothing against people who do choose to, nothing at all. But for me personally, it wasn't a benefit for me. You know what I'm saying? So I actually prayed about it. Like why is this here? You know what I'm saying? Like it's something. I'm sure it's a plant. Why is it here? But I had to realize though within myself, well, what do you need it for? What purpose, what benefit is it serving you? And it was serving me none, you know? I think I'm funny. I get hungry. I go to sleep. And then I miss out on the whole day. It served me no purpose. And I knew soberly I wanted to connect. I wanted to identify the power that I already possessed. You know what I'm saying? And so...
Wow. That's... go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
Because that to me, and then it's like, why are you doing this? That's a big question, right? And it's not a judgmental question because some people have reasons that are valid to them. Right. But if my answer to why I might be doing something like that lies in me wanting to escape something, then that's going to actually weaken me over time. So I don't want to escape the suffering or escape the hardships. I want to be able to process it, internalize it, and then make the best chess move after that, right? And that actually strengthens you over time so that when you face something bigger in the future, you won't crumble. So it's like, I don't want to escape what I'm going through.
You running away from your growth.
You have to face whatever it is that's in front of you voluntarily and, put your shoulders up right. And that's what it is.
Head on.
Absolutely. I like that.
And that was your question about hardship. I don't know. Rick got me spilling all the beans. I'm like, that was enough. But like how you said though, dealing with hardship, like there would be moments where I was just like, okay, God, I ain't experienced this before. What we gonna do? How we gonna get through it? Pray. Okay, cool. What's next, God? I'm still feeling it. And I would get in my word. I'm telling you, like people always, the answers in the Bible. Even if you find yourself, you in the Bible. I'm like, my name is not written in that Bible. I'm confused.
Say Mykeya nowhere in here.
I don't even see it, Myesha. But okay. And so I would read, and it doesn't have to be a female character who you resonate with. It could be Joseph's story, him getting the dream that God told him that basically like his family was going to bow down to him, and him learning that you're not supposed to tell your dreams to everybody. That was a moment that resonated with me. You know what I'm saying? So when people say the answers are in the Bible, like they are. Like I like to read those different like self-help spiritual books, but I read my Bible too, and I kind of mix the two. Now I had to read the New Living Translation because that King James I couldn't. I said,
my mama just bought me that one like a couple of weeks ago.
So, but I read my word, and that helps me to identify more about myself, more about my journey. And I hear God so clearly. Like when I tell you the Holy Spirit be so loud, I have to stop in the midst and always acknowledge like, oh my God, thank you, Holy Spirit. Oh, glory. Thank you, God. In that moment, because it be so loud and the answer just pop. Just right there. And I be like, in that peace, like, thank you. Holy Spirit even tell me to shut up sometimes. Like, okay, you said enough.
Wow. So you're learning how to be patient as you get older. Wow. Okay, it's a quote that comes to mind when I think about you. It's a book by a guy named Booker T. Washington. Most of you have heard of him.
I hope so. Y'all better.
And he has a book called Up From Slavery. And the quote, and this isn't verbatim, but it's the happiest people are the ones who do the most for others, and the most miserable are the ones who do the least.
Wow.
And that made me think of you because sometimes we think that we have to sort of put ourselves in, it's like we lock ourselves up and we don't want people having access to us because we think it's going to overburden us and we don't want to shoulder that responsibility. But it's actually through helping others that we find our purpose. And if we find our purpose, that in itself makes us happy. And I see you doing that. I see you helping so many people. And it's no coincidence that when I see your videos, you have a genuine smile and genuine laughter. And it's definitely a result of you being so helpful and being of service to so many people out there and using your time to do so. And it says a lot about you. It says a lot about your character to be doing that at a young age, because like I said, most people in their 20s, they like, I'm going to do me. I'm traveling here. I'm going to Mexico with my girls. I'm going to take some fly pictures. I'm going to stunt on the gram. But you on a mission. And I just look forward to seeing where you go next. And I love that you doing what you're doing with Unlock the Keys, because it inspires me. So keep doing that so I can keep staying on my shit. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta have you back on soon. Where can people find you? Where can people find your show? Where can people find you on social media? And look into this camera or that one, but this one, because this is a close up and the guys gonna see you here. All the fellas out there. But anyway, look into that one and tell them where they can find you.
Thank you, by the way. First, I just want to thank you so much. I am so honored to be here. I really am. Like, you don't have to support. You don't have to do none of that. But like the fact that when people see a light in you, like that means the world to me. So thank you. Like, I'm super, super honored for real. Man, I was thanking God, like, what? Thank you. All right. But no, I appreciate and I love what you're doing. Like, I really do. Like, your setup, it's really your grinding, your passion behind it. And like, people, when you go after what you want, you're going to do what you need to do. Yeah. And that shows your true like care and passion for it. So absolutely, thank you so much. Thank you. To answer your question, though, we be talking, y'all. It's probably like a 2-hour interview, but sorry for them edits. But
no, it's not. It's only been like an hour 5 minutes.
Okay, but I'm gonna tell you what to take out. And I'm playing. But you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Mykeya Latia, Mykeya Latia. Oh, Mykeya Latia, and then, or Unlocked with Keys, is past tense, so Unlocked with Keys. And then the podcast is on YouTube, all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, Pandora. I'm waiting on y'all to approve it. It's been a minute, but
come on, Pandora.
Yeah, you like what they doing? Google Play, Amazon. Yeah, we out there, so go check me out.
All right, y'all. Conversations with TinBridge. Peace.